tell us about your experience with George W. Bush.
It's the World Series. It's very apropos now because the 9/11 anniversary was the other day, and baseball became important for us, as it, as that James Earl Jones speech in Field of Dreams. Through all the hard times, there was baseball. And through all the wars, there was baseball. So it's Yankees against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Odd thing, because Janice and I at the time were minority owners, and I don't mean Jewish, of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We had invested in a team because it was near Los Angeles, and it was like a chance to be involved with Major League Baseball. So wow. So when they were created, we made an investment in the organization, never once thinking that someday, 4 years later, they'd be in the World Series against my beloved Yankees, right? So I'm in a quandary. We go to the first game in Arizona, and I sit behind a Yankee dugout. They got me seats. I'm looking across the field, and there's all my partners behind the Arizona Diamondback thing. They put me up on the scoreboard, and everybody booed. I mean, killed me. It was, Arizona, it was Phoenix. They were booing, and they were so hostile, but dry. And the Diamondbacks beat us terribly the first two games. In the middle of the second game, Janice turns to me and says, "Honey, we're beating us." So now we fly to New York for the crucial Game 3. If the Yankees lose, it's over. They have to win Game 3. And sits at the stadium. And President Bush is coming to throw out the first pitch. And nobody wanted him to come. Yeah. It was not personal. It was not personal. It just was the traffic. And we were scared to death. We were all terrified because we had Tom Ridge. Remember him? Who looked like a Dick Tracy character. Scaring the shit out of us on television. It felt like every 30 seconds, the color. There's going to be another attack. It's going to come at any time. Here's what you have to do to fend off the attack. Get duct tape. Duct tape your windows. Duct tape your doors. Duct tape your ass. We don't want anything getting out into the atmosphere. And then President Bush, look out for anybody who looks suspicious. This is New York. We all look suspicious. So we get up to the stadium. And there's metal detectors everywhere. You had to walk through two. One, and then another one 10 feet later. I mean, it was really insane. There were German shepherds all over the place. Not dogs, actual German shepherds. It was weird. Just, Coogan's Bluff. So there were gunmen all over the place. They're usually there, but this was weird. And so we finally get into our seats. And I was a guest at Mr. Steinbrenner that night, and he sits me in his box up there with three real kind of bleacher creature guys: Henry Kissinger, Donald Trump, and Regis Philbin. Trump is flipped out because it's really breezy that night. It's like. So he's doing that, and it's doing that thing. And then President Bush walks out. The great Bob Shepard introduced him. Please welcome the President of the United States, George W. Bush, #1. And Bush walks out like John Wayne. I mean, to his credit. He walked out there, stood on the mound. Remember, he held up that ball in defiance, right? Like Al-Qaeda is afraid of a baseball. No, baseball! A baseball! Run! And to his credit, I swear, because it's hard, he threw a fucking strike to Posada, and the place went crazy. It was really fantastic. So I'm up there in George's box, and he has this great buffet, and I'm a Jew. I'm at the buffet. I'm telling you, a minute after he threw it, he appears. They must have held the elevator for him, because you can't get through that old stadium like that. And I knew him a little bit. I had been to the White House once before. We screened a movie I directed called 61 at the White House. So I had met him, and he was very charming. He's like a good fraternity boy. And no, it really was. And he appears. And I see him, and I have a deviled egg in my hand. And I went, Mr. President. He goes, Billy C., how about my fastball? And I'm thinking, how about finding bin Laden? So we then sit down, and I'm sitting like 3 rows in front of him next to Kissinger, Philbin, and Trump. And I'm sitting next to Henry Kissinger, and I'm talking to him. I said, how do you do, sir? And I said, may I call you Henry? And he actually said, call me Hank. We're at the ballpark. Okay. So the 4th inning comes, and I appear on the big Diamond Vision scoreboard with the public service announcement that I had made. The Yankees had asked me to do about, you know, be a good fan and be a good New Yorker, let's show the world who we are, that kind of thing. And in the middle of it, I'm looking at it, and I was actually very moved, because Yankee Stadium was a special place for me. If they call ballparks cathedrals, this was my synagogue. And I looked down where my dad had taken my brothers and I to our first game back in 1956. I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the big scoreboard going, God damn it, isn't this something? It was really misty-eyed. From behind me, Billy C's on the big scoreboard. And now he feels like he's the president of the Dukes of Hazzard. All that's missing is pull my finger. That's all that's missing. And he gets up and he goes, listen, George, thanks for having me. I gotta go. I got a very important meeting. I gotta go. Then he leaves, and I turned to Kissinger and I said, Hank, did Nixon ever have meetings? He said, no, he had martinis, about 4 of them. They'd call me something anti-Semitic. Okay. So now everybody leaves, and he had Condoleezza Rice was with him, everybody's with, now the whole staff goes, and when they go, if you've ever been around one of those entourages, they go. What comes next is 4 guys in jumpsuits with drills come down the aisles of the box, and they remove the front wall, which we didn't know because it was painted to look like the old wall. It was 3/4-inch bulletproof steel, sheets of it, that they took out as soon as the president left. Regis stands up and goes, where the fuck are you going? What about us? So that's my Bush at the White House story. It's a totally true story.